This photo by May Finch is a different proportion of the paper that I'll be painting on. So I'll be elongating the tree trunk, and I'm going to keep it close to the right side, but I'll finish off the bulge of the tree over on the left. And that long thing hanging from the owl's beak is a snake, and I think we'll leave that out of the picture today. What I'm very interested in is the texture of the tree and the owl. For textural effects, we'll use a sea sponge and a chiseled brush handle. You could also use a credit card, a rigger brush, and some kosher salt. I'll begin with a simple contour drawing, and I'll just put in the significant landmarks on the tree and the bird. I'm not going to put in details of the bird's plumage. I'm using a big squirrel mop. It holds a lot of water. And I'm mixing our first colors, which will be ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. The gray on the tree is still wet, so as I apply the cerulean, it blends nicely. It's very soft edge. I see cerulean a lot in nature. If you look at an old maple tree, you're bound to see pinks and blues in the bark. When I applied the gray wash, I made sure I left some spots of dry white paper. Now I'm applying the neutral mix again, the ultramarine and the burnt sienna. There's more pigment in it now. And now I'm painting around the owl. Now I'm introducing a little scraping for texture. So this is a chiseled brush handle. Now before the paper dries, I'm going to sprinkle on kosher salt. I feel I'm getting too fussy in this area. I'm paying too much attention to the photo. So I've turned the photo over so I can just respond to the brush marks that I've made on the paper. Now I'm using my atomizer to spray water on the wash and let things flow. Now I'm taking my damp sea sponge and I'm using it to soften some of the hard edges in the texture that I've created with that neutral mix. Now I'm stamping it into the burnt sienna that's in my mixing tray, and I can just paint with it into this still wet surface, and that adds some beautiful color. Now with my rigger brush, I'm spattering the neutral mix onto the tree trunk. And next I'll sprinkle some more salt while it's still wet. And now it's time to dry the paper, especially around the owl. Now I've switched to a number 10 silver black velvet brush. It's a squirrel hair with just a touch of synthetic, and it holds water. Comes to a beautiful fine tip so I can get the kind of detail that I need. Okay, here I'm laying the brush on its side to get a dry brush effect. It's at this point that the owl really comes to life as I add this dark mixture of the burnt umber and the ultramarine. You could also use neutral tint on this. So I make sure I leave a highlight, and it's got the quinacridone gold as the base color. And this eye is in shadow, so it's going to be almost all black. And I'll go back later and just lift a hint of light out of that eye.